Today we're going to examine space arcs and how they relate to a new message by Thor Han Eredyon about the Boeing Starliner that is stranded in space. Space arcs are massive, self-sustaining spacecraft designed to carry large populations of humans or other species across vast distances. Space arcs could be used to transport us to the medbed moon station that is being built, in the event that the healing beds are not able to be brought to Earth just yet. Please understand that this is not to discourage you or propose that the technology won't be brought to Earth. It is merely a backup plan in the event that space travel might be in our future. A space arc is a massive, self-sustaining spacecraft designed to carry large populations of humans or other species across vast distances. The idea stems from the need to preserve life in the face of cataclysmic events that threaten a planet's habitability, like environmental collapse, overpopulation, or cosmic disasters. The primary purpose of space arcs has usually been to ensure the survival of a species. They are mobile habitats capable of supporting life for generations, often on journeys lasting hundreds or thousands of years. These arcs may be designed to reach a distant habitable planet, colonize a new world, or act as floating cities in space, drifting between solar systems. Some depictions of space arcs serve as lifeboats to preserve biodiversity from Earth or some other planet. They are frequently portrayed as vessels of hope, carrying the seeds of future civilizations, including human passengers, plants, animals, and artificial intelligence. They have also been portrayed as roaming libraries or archives, holding the sum total of human or alien knowledge and culture. Well, Thor Han learned some interesting information out about the Boeing Starliner craft that can't get home and how it relates to the disclosure program. Through Elena Danaan, Thor Han communicated that interference with NASA communications is one maneuver of the disclosure plan that has been underway. I don't know if you know, but the wounded Starliner craft recorded a strange pulse. We are going to listen to the sound that the astronauts heard and further discuss Thor Han's information and the concept of space arcs. First, let me ask you to like and share this video. Subscribe to my channel if the content interests you. And if you would like to support my channel, you can leave a super thanks, which helps me with expenses and is always greatly appreciated. Also, I've got a little store with some original designs that you might like. The store is linked in the description. Okay, so let's talk about the Starlink mission and exactly what this cover-up is about. The Starliner mission. The Boeing Starliner is a crewed spacecraft developed by Boeing for NASA's Commercial Crew Program. Its purpose is to transport astronauts to and from the International Space Station, the ISS. The spacecraft was originally scheduled to return to Earth in early June 2024, after an 8-day mission, but due to multiple technical issues, allegedly including malfunctioning thrusters, the mission has been extended. The spacecraft and its crew are now expected to remain at the ISS until early 2025, as engineers work to resolve the problems before Starliner's safe return. On August 31, 2024, astronaut Butch Wilmore reported a noise similar to a sonar-like pulse while holding a microphone to a speaker inside the spacecraft. The sound, resembling an echo, was transmitted through the communication system to NASA. NASA deemed that the under 2-minute heartbeat sound was caused by an audio feedback issue between Starliner and the ISS, and that was the end of an inquiry related to the issue. Just yesterday, Elena Danaan reported on this pulsating sound and the purpose of the Starliner mission in June. As always, there will be a link to Elena's video on this for further investigation. The explanation came from Thor Han Eredyon, a high commander on the Galactic Federation of Worlds battle station named the Excelsior. Thor Han communicated to Elena that while he wasn't personally involved in the mission, he learned that the Starlink incident was not an accident, but a signal from the XL-6 battle station as part of the ongoing Alien Disclosure Project. The pulse that was transmitted was an order from the High Scientific Office. The pulsating sound that lasted for under 2 minutes heard by the Starlink astronauts sounds very much like a heartbeat. Let's listen.
Houston, I'm 2. I've got a question about Starliner.
Houston's with you, Butch. Go ahead.
There's a strange noise coming through the speaker. And I didn't know if you could connect into the Starliner and let me keep mic and let you hear it. I don't know what's making it, but I don't know if there's something that maybe is connected between here and there, making that happen. But anyway, can you do that?
We can configure that, Butch. Give us a minute, and I'll call you back when it's ready.
Okay.
Station Houston on 2, we're configured for audio via hardline and CST, if you want to give us a call.
Okay, I'm in Starliner, and how do you read?
5x5, how many?
Okay, I'm gonna keep the mic up next to the speaker.
Copy.
Hear that?
At negative, Butch, we did not hear anything.
That.
All right, Butch, that one came through. It was kind of like a pulsing noise, almost like a sonar ping.
Yeah, I'll do it one more time, and I'll let y'all scratch your heads and see if you can figure out what's going on. Here we go. All right, over to you. Tell us if you figure it out.
Yep, good recording. Thanks, Butch. We will pass it on to the team and let you know what we find. And Butch, just to make sure I'm on the same page, this is emanating from the speaker in Starliner. You don't notice anything else, any other noises, any other weird configs in there? Okay, thank you.
This pulsating sound from the Boeing Starliner lasted for less than 2 minutes and was reported almost immediately by astronaut Butch Wilmore. He held a microphone to a speaker, and NASA quickly confirmed the sound, which resembled a sonar-like pulse. NASA then publicly reported that it was an audio feedback issue between Starliner and the ISS's communication systems. NASA assured it posed no risk to the mission or spacecraft. So we have a NASA mission that left June 5, 2024, and was supposed to be back in 8 days. It arrived at the space station on June 9th, but did not return on June 13th as scheduled. On July 3rd, the spacecraft allegedly began leaking some of the helium that is part of its propulsion system, and a minority of its thrusters experienced issues. Then the astronauts phoned home a month later and played the pulsing sound that you just heard on August 4th, 2024. Then NASA told us that it's communication interference. You're gonna love this next part. Boeing Starliner, uncrewed spacecraft, undocked from the International Space Station at 6:04 p.m. Eastern Time on September 6, 2024, and landed safely at 12:01 a.m. Eastern Time on Saturday, the 7th, at White Sands Space Harbor in New Mexico. So the entire trip was 6 hours. There's only one problem with that scenario. The White Sands Space Harbor was officially closed as a landing site in 2020. Spaceport America then became the primary spaceport for commercial and test flights in New Mexico. So now we can add the fact that this ill-fated mission not only returned home abruptly after the pulsing transmission, but they also didn't return to the scheduled landing place at Cape Canaveral, Florida. They didn't even land at the new facility, Spaceport America. Instead, they landed it at a closed runway in a closed facility and then drove it back to Cape Canaveral. You would not believe what it took for me to pin down this information and timeline. So for some reason, it has been quite difficult to find the coordinates of exactly where the Starliner craft landed. I was given multiple coordinates from both Google Maps and ChatGPT, all of which were located in China, of all places. Finally, after constant misinformation on various engines, I went to Apple Maps and was able to determine something very interesting. I mapped the location of the White Sands Space Harbor, Spaceport America, and the farm where the 1947 Roswell crash occurred. All of these locations are within about 50 miles of each other. Also, White Sands Missile Range, which included the White Sands Space Harbor, has long been associated with various military and aerospace activities, some of which have been classified or involved advanced technology development. White Sands has played a role in the testing of rockets, missiles, and spacecraft, including early U.S. space programs and NASA's Space Shuttle program. There have been claims of secret space programs connected to the site, including speculation about testing of classified technologies or involvement with extraterrestrial phenomena. The programs conducted at the White Sands Missile Range emerged regarding the facility's involvement in classified space-related activities. Some of the more prominent alleged programs include Solar Warden, one of the most famous secret space programs. It is said to involve a fleet of advanced spacecraft operated by the U.S. and its allies, protecting Earth from extraterrestrial threats. Some believe that White Sands played a role in developing and testing technologies used by Solar Warden, such as advanced propulsion systems and weapons. Another notorious secret space program conduction at White Sands is Project Serpo, which was an exchange program between the U.S. government and an extraterrestrial race from the Zeta Reticuli star system. White Sands also hosted or supported classified aerospace projects funded through the Black Budget, which is classified unacknowledged funding. These projects are believed to have involved the development of anti-gravity propulsion, reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology, and other advanced spaceflight capabilities. White Sands was also used for NASA's space shuttle testing, and some believe it also hosted unpublicized tests of other spacecraft, including those designed for secret military missions. It is speculated that the base served as a launch or landing site for spacecraft developed under classified programs. Some believe that White Sands is a hub for reverse engineering UFO technology recovered from incidents like the Roswell crash. It's also believed to have been a location for covert meetings or contact with extraterrestrial beings, shielded by the facility's classified nature. So how are the two Starliner astronauts going to get home in February 2025 if their spacecraft is gone? Well, the Crew 8 Dragon spacecraft, also known as Endeavour, remains docked at the International Space Station, ISS. It has been there since it docked on March 5, 2024, with 1 Russian and 3 American astronauts. The Dragon had to be reconfigured to add 2 extra seats for Williams and Wilmore in the event of an emergency. Crew 8 leaves the space station this fall, and the 2 abandoned astronauts will become part of upcoming SpaceX Dragon Crew 9 expedition, which is scheduled after September 24th. The American and Russian astronauts on Crew 9 will meet up with Williams and Wilmore and will return with the 2 in February of 2025. To be clear, SpaceX is rescuing 2 of NASA's astronauts that Boeing stranded. Don't confuse SpaceX with Starliner. They are completely different. Both SpaceX's Dragon craft and Boeing's Starliner have been contracted by NASA to transport astronauts and cargo to and from the International Space Station. While both spacecraft dock with the ISS and fulfill similar roles, they operate independently and do not directly collaborate on missions. SpaceX got $2.6 billion, while Boeing received $4.2 billion in 2014. Yet, SpaceX's Crew Dragon has now been flying routine astronaut trips for years, while Starliner is still working out concerning issues. So once again, Crew 8 got to the space station but did not leave in 8 days. Instead, they remained and a month later reported or perhaps disclosed the heartbeat sound to NASA. Then the Boeing craft that is supposed to be disabled is returned to a closed space base in New Mexico without incident, carrying only cargo and the astronauts' Boeing spacesuits. Then Elon Musk's SpaceX is going up to the space station with 2 additional astronauts until February 2025. Just to make some comparisons, the first manned SpaceX trip to the space station was May 2020 aboard a Crew Dragon spacecraft. Crew Dragon Demo 2 returned to Earth on August 2, 2020, and landed in the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Pensacola, Florida, near Naval Air Station and Eglin Base, instead of returning to Cape Canaveral. White Sands Space Harbor officially ceased operations as a landing site on October 1, 2020, until the Crew 9 Boeing Starliner just landed in it. Spaceport America, on the other hand, has been around since 2011 and is controlled and used by private companies such as Virgin Galactic for suborbital space tourism. It has also hosted test flights from other companies such as Blue Origin and Stratolaunch. Elon Musk's SpaceX is not associated with Spaceport, nor is Boeing. Now, I already have my thoughts about what happened to the Crew 8 Starliner that left without its crew, but listen to what Elena Danaan reported from Thor Han Eredyon. In his most recent communication, Thor Han released the following information. Thor Han made it clear that he was not involved in the operation, but he was kind enough to check it out and learned that the pulse went out on order from the high scientific office. He explained that interference with NASA communications is one maneuver of the disclosure plan that has been underway. He also stated that the pulse is the reflected signal of an organic ship's consciousness, such as that found in arcs. The heartbeat is the pulse of a living and self-aware Class 4 technology which is not often used by the Federation, but by highly advanced civilizations in their vessels. Thor Han also communicated that the signal was from the XL-6 battle station as part of the Disclosure Project, and when arcs on Earth activate, we might hear these pulses that can only be felt if your soul is part of the specific arcs collective. Thor Han conveyed that one of the main purposes of this transmission was to cause many to activate memory, and that this sound is the heartbeat of the highly advanced plasmic consciousness. These beings have a pulse even if they have no biological heart. If something is sentient, it automatically has a pulse frequency. To get a better understanding of this communication, I did a little research and found that space arcs are also known as energy grids. These powerful energy nodes are advanced technology structures located on Earth which harness or manipulate energy from the Earth's natural energy grid or from cosmic sources. The idea of a heartbeat is used to describe the pulsing or activation of these arcs. These arcs can create a rhythmic energy pulse or signal, which could be linked to significant events or alignments. Remember, we spoke about these arcs being used to transport people or objects to and from Earth, serving as gateways or portals to other dimensions or locations in space. The arcs could also be used for transmitting energy across great distances, either for powering advanced technologies or for communicating with otherworldly entities. Ancient civilizations, such as Atlantis or Lemuria, are believed to have built these arcs as part of their advanced technology. Additionally, extraterrestrial beings may have constructed or utilized these arcs as part of their interaction with Earth. There are some who believe that the activation of these arcs is linked to a cyclical event that occurs every 12,000 years. It is important to understand that space arcs are part of a larger energy network that interacts with or influences plasmic consciousness. The arcs can be seen as nodes in this network, and their activation or heartbeat could affect or be synchronized with the consciousness or awareness of individuals or civilizations. The arcs enable communication or interaction between levels of consciousness. So that will do it for now. So far, it seems to me that space arcs are concentrated energy nodes, which create a network around our planet. As these space arcs are activated, they make the heartbeat sound picked up by the astronauts of the Crew 8 Starliner. But why were they abandoned by Boeing? Why did the Boeing aircraft return to Earth at a closed space base with only cargo and the Boeing spacesuits? What are the astronauts wearing for their months at the space station? Why is SpaceX picking up those 2 astronauts and adding them to their mission? Why are we still using Boeing for anything when SpaceX has conducted 7 manned missions to the International Space Station, and the only manned mission that Boeing conducted stranded its astronauts, and SpaceX did it with half the money that Boeing got? So the space arcs are awakening their collective. The Boeing Starliner has been returned to Earth, and it appears that the possibility exists that the International Space Station has been taken over, perhaps by the Earth Alliance, and those astronauts will be returning after the new president of the US is inaugurated. Those are just a couple of thoughts. Tell me yours. Have you heard anything about this disaster of a mission? It definitely appears that the world is truly awakening, and we are about to go where only the wealthy and elite have gone. Until next time, the acquisition of wealth is no longer the driving force in our lives. We will work to better ourselves and the rest of humanity.